Breadtube. Why the heck is it named Breadtube? Like, who exactly looked at these people and instantly thought, yes, bread? Well, when it comes to these breadtubers, I've watched quite a few of them, and one thing I've noticed is most are not funny. They're bland, pretentious, predictable, they're stupid, and most of all, very boring. And the only ones that really get an idea of what I mean, look at this clip of a breadtuber attempting to be funny. You may notice a few things.
Don't even get me started on the fact that RFK Jr., the health guru, is drinking bottled Coke. Bruh, if you drank water, your voice wouldn't sound like that.
I don't like RFK, but you criticizing him for his voice while you sound like a menopausal woman is amazing.
I had to include that one comment roasting him. But seriously, why are all the breadtubers like this? Their quote-unquote jokes are just insults at the end of the day. This is one example, but if you've watched any of them, they are all like this. That being, it usually comes from a very bitter place, in that it's forced. And the only enjoyment that can come from it stems from already hating that person in the first place, which isn't comedy. And there's another thing. As we get further into the video, you'll see that there's actually a strategy behind this. It serves a real purpose for these people, especially for Hassan.
I walked into this back sphere, Epcot looking thing in the back of the house that P. Diddy was renting for his and was throwing after parties at Coachella.
For most of them that I've seen, especially the smaller breadtubers, if anything, their comedy, it resembles something much closer to simply venting their frustrations and emotions about a person. One aspect of this, which is very sloppy, is I don't honestly believe that they're saying these things to make people laugh. Do you honestly think that these breadtubers, they're coming up with things to say about Trump or right-wingers simply to be funny? Obviously, that's failing. And I don't think they legitimately have ever thought, how can I just make a person laugh by saying this? How can I just be funny about it? With the video we saw about Hunter, I don't think that ever crossed his mind. I think he literally saw that one image full of people he disliked, and he simply wanted to insult and attack all of them, whether it was funny or not, because if you were genuinely focusing on being enjoyable or humorous, you wouldn't have forced it like that. You could have just said one joke, maybe about Trump, and left it be if it was actually funny, if you actually wanted people to smile or laugh. But no, instead he wanted to drag it on for a whole minute and made it extremely pretentious and boring, which is just frankly not fun. It's boring. Even if I viscerally hated Trump as badly as they do, it still wouldn't be funny. He just saw the image, went through all of the people and tried to roast them to the best of his ability and failed. Whereas you have people who are actually funny. They're totally fine with making jokes at Trump's expense. People like Oniplay and Zach.
Do you know that Donald Trump played this game and thought, ooh, little characters in cages, I'll do that IRL? I was playing Croc and I saw the little characters in cages and frankly I thought, that looks not so bad.
It's Big Trump and Little.
You are 6 inches smaller than me.
Hello, little Trump. You're gonna be a good assistant.
Hello, Big Trump. I can't wait to deport all the illegals.
He's hilarious, and he makes jokes about Trump all the time. He does an impression of Trump. Why is Zach funny when he makes these jokes? But when all these breadtubers try and do it, it's all very distasteful and unfunny. Why? I think the difference is you have people like Zach, people like Oniplay, who genuinely just want to be funny. They genuinely want to be entertaining and to make people laugh. That is at the forefront of their mind. What they're thinking when they see the images isn't how can I attack Trump? How can I bash him and show how much I hate him? No. All that crosses their mind is, can I make this funny? I don't care what the quote-unquote message is. It's just, can I make people laugh? And if it's funny and at Trump's expense, I'll say it. I think that's genuinely what just goes through his mind. And even if he hated Trump, it still doesn't change the fact that he only tells these jokes when it's actually funny, when he has something to say, because it's natural. It's, again, not forced. He's not going on a giant tangent or a detour just to specifically shit on Trump. But if it's funny though, he doesn't hold anything back. That's how he operates. Because again, he genuinely just wants to make people laugh, which is his job. I mean, why do you think comedians commonly make fun of themselves? It's not a matter of who am I going after? How do I look when I say these things? It's a matter of, is it funny or not? And that's not at all what these breadtubers are thinking when they make these quote-unquote jokes at other people's expenses. It's just attacks. What's also interesting about comedy is the inherent risk you take when you make a joke. Because commonly when you make a joke, it can be received multiple ways. People can burst out laughing, they love it, or they take great offense to it. You're insulting me, you're attacking me, or you're attacking somebody I genuinely care about. It's risky. People can take it either way, and there's that risk element to it. Those are the two camps this type of comedy usually falls under in a nutshell. It's how it is. You can either love it or you hate it. Very simple, easy to understand. Again though, back to Hassan Piker. There's something interesting to notice about him and his audience. One being something we all already know, which is they're stupid. But that's not by accident. It's by design. Because you see, Hassan cannot make good arguments for the things he believes in. That's why what he believes constantly changes depending on who he's talking to, whether that be he's talking to communists or landlords. He just lies, or maybe when he's watching and reacting to a video, all he can do is mock and misrepresent the people he disagrees with, and especially laughs about it with that insufferable dolphin laugh. Oh my goodness. But the lies, the mocking, and the laughing, all of those are by design and a tool for him. It's one of his strongest tools, being his laugh. Because when you're somebody who never really leveled up in intelligence or actually understanding your own ideology or forming a coherent worldview, you gotta level up and compensate in other ways. And the thing he leveled up in is just in mocking and ridiculing people. And the reason why it is such an effective tool is because his audience is genuinely stupid. Because these people, they tend to conflate mocking and ridiculing somebody, laughing at their arguments, with genuine refutation of a person's argument. There's no difference to them. If Hassan's laughing at it, he's won. It shows that the argument isn't worth taking seriously, which means the other person failed to make a compelling argument for their own side. So when Hassan laughs, he's won to these people. Amazing. That's how debates work. If you mock them and you laugh at them, you've won. Though again, the only problem is it only works on a very peculiar subset of people. Those being idiots. Because with anybody who has half a brain, we all know that if you're mocking and simply undermining a person's worldview without actually addressing the things they say, you know they can't refute it. You resort to personal attacks when you can't actually address what they say. Though again, I'm not saying all insults and personal attacks are bad or wrong. You lose whenever you insult. Of course not. Some people, they genuinely do deserve it because they're not engaging with the things you say. If the other person refuses to engage with what you say, go for it. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But for people like Hassan, nah. He automatically resorts to it. That's just what he always does. Another interesting thing to look at, though, is their memes. And shout out to Mentiswave for this. He's covered why the left can't meme. He gives some really good explanations for why this is the case. But there's some things I think he left out that are also relevant to this video. One being that there are many types of left-wing memes. Two of them of which are like this. One, it's either a whole paragraph of boring propaganda about their ideology. That's one of them. But then we have the shorter ones, the much more simplistic type, where the punchline is just murder. That's it. That's the punchline. The punchline is throw rocks at people you disagree with. Which, for those who don't know, I'll give you a little history lesson. That is an ancient form of execution that we've referred to as stoning. These are their jokes. That's their memes. Stone people you disagree with. These are by far the most popular left-wing memes out there that I've seen. All of them include violence. All these memes that blow up, you can sum them up very easily. Ha ha ha, I don't like right-wingers. Let's kill them. That's how they joke. That's how left-wingers talk to each other. Oh, you don't want to use my pronouns? How about I slap you? But let's go back. You remember when I mentioned risk? When you make a joke, especially an edgy joke, you're risking to offend people. These memes, though, about violence, just about killing people you disagree with, that's not controversial or risky to these radical leftists. To these breadtubers, what they find very offensive is one word, being the N-word. That's offensive. That's wrong. That's the ultimate sin you can commit. But to them, it's perfectly reasonable to joke about killing people you just disagree with en masse. These are the same people to label half of the country homophobic, racist, evil, fascist. That's what they do. And then they say, throw stones at those people. These people constantly are fine with rationalizing and using mental gymnastics to attack half of the population. Yet we're the evil people according to them. We're the more violent side. And here's the kicker. If you ever see somebody joking about violence, saying these things like to throw rocks at a racist, just talk to them, ask them a few questions about it. Who do you mean by racist? Do you think half of the population that voted for Trump are racist? Are you including those people into it? They're gonna say yes. But if you dig too deeply into it, you question the ethics of attacking half of the population of America. What is their response?
Why are you defending Nazis, man? That's my question.
Why-
What's the deal?
Well, it's because
Why-
you're
why do
dehumanizing
you have such a
everybody
boner
you
for them?
disagree with and calling everybody you disagree with a Nazi.
Would you give a shit if
Why are you defending Nazis? Are you a Nazi yourself? You're obviously an evil Nazi and you deserve to be on the chopping block as well. They don't deny any of these things because, again, they're not even hiding it at this point. Look at these memes. These are the incredibly popular memes among the left. How many thousands of likes do these memes get? Look at this. This is mainstream to them. They think that people who even disagree with the trans ideology, they're very far right-wing and horrible people. They even have terms for them, like TERFs, for example. You can agree with them every step of the way, but if there's even one slight deviation in belief, they'll hate you, and they'll view you just as evil as a Nazi. Oh, you're a radical communist feminist, but you just don't think that trans women are women? Well, that makes you an evil TERF, and we hate you, and you're just as bad as the Nazis. Like, this is how these people think. And guess what? If you're going to be left-wing, go all the way through with it today. Embrace all of it. Repeat every single thing that they say. Because unless you do to a perfect T, they're going to justify violence against you as well, if they haven't already. Whereas for people on the right, so many of us don't agree at all. But it's like, hey, we're chill. You want to play some games? You want to have a fun time? Whatever. Either sing your song as a leftist to a perfect T or get out. Otherwise, you're going to be just as bad as the Nazis. And you might be thinking, well, how did we get to here? We were talking about how breadtubers aren't funny. We're talking about comedy, right? Well, it's because what the left views as comedy is just murder. That's their view of comedy. Murder. But that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope it also makes things clear for people who had this exact same impression of breadtubers. I hope it clarifies things for you and answers a couple of your questions. But other than that, that's the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe and check out some of my other videos. And as always, I hope you have a good one.